Hi, this is Frank Klesitz coming to you from my home office today. Keeping it nice and casual today. Hope you enjoy the hoodie. So I'm with JP today. He looks very nice in his sport coat. Say hi, JP.
Hey, what's up, man?
And he sounds really good with that professional microphone. JP is a realtor up in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and has been a client for a while and has actually gone through some of our courses. And I thought I would just interview you, JP, on like how you're using video and social media marketing to stay in touch with your database for consumers, as well as I think you're also using it in many ways to help recruit other agents. Is that right?
Correct.
Cool. So take me back to the time that you realized you needed to do something more to stay in touch with your database. What was that realization? And when did you realize I should probably spend some time or energy on staying in touch with your existing list?
Um, when I think a lot, like myself included, you get to a point where you try to outspend your lead gen and you don't realize you spend more time focusing on the new client base and not spending time with your existing client base. And I kind of hit a point in my business where I was like, lead gen starting to get more and more expensive. And it was, the conversion is a lot harder. And I think a lot of it was just the fear of reaching out to the people that you've already had contact with,
Mm,
because then it's just this weird thing, and especially in real estate sales, where it's like, well, I've already established that relationship. I need to go find new relationships, rather than going back and looking just getting in touch with your past clients and letting them remind them of who you are. And one of the statistics that I had heard was it was like 85 or 87% of your past clients forget your name after 3 years, which I was like, wait, what? I'm like, I think I'm a pretty memorable guy, you
yeah.
know? But I was not the case. And then also it was that moment when I started seeing houses that I had sold go
Oof,
back up
it's
on
the
the,
worst. Yeah, somebody else.
and I'm like, okay, something's missing in this whole deal. Like, what am I not doing? And it was just keeping in touch. And, uh, and so now that I have got a good systematic process that's dialed in now, that I'm doing on a regular basis to stay in touch with my past clients, I've seen a lot more return of those original buys come back as sells. So
There's a lot of options you can follow to stay in touch with your list. Why did
mhm.
you go down the path of making a video blog and sending videos out versus some of the other probably more easier options out there?
Because I'm in sales and I'm a narcissist and I want people to know me. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I want people to remember me when they see me at the grocery store. I want them to see when I'm driving down the street to honk at me when they see my car. I want to be basically the celebrity of my town. And so I think by continuing to be in front of people, and I think it's also, I like being on camera, and I have my own podcast too. So I think that just by getting used to video, and they've always been pushed, that video is going to be the new way people consume content, and and of course you hear if words, are, what is it? What's that thing about, words mean so much, and if you do it by video, it like triples your outreach
Yeah, they can
by
feel a
doing.
little more of the emotion of the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Why
So, and you can take it and you can chew it up and you can distribute it in different ways, and by just doing one video, and there's different ways to do it that way. And I also think it's a personal touch. And anything in my market that sets you apart from your competition, especially in the video space, is also a disruptor for the way we
Yeah, I
do.
would think it's Cheyenne. Not a lot of people are doing this.
No.
No. Why so you want to go in this path with video to your database. You can hire a video person, you can hire an intern, you can hire a VA. You decide to give us money. Why is that?
Because I met you before, and
That's
so
nice.
I'm like, and you guys you're part of the my original ecosystem, the Omaha crew. When I met John and I met you and I, and so it was just, I don't know, I connected with your guys' style, and I think really the biggest kicker was I did that recruiting course
Yeah,
that
like
you
that.
had put out. Yeah. And so I was like, man, like a very systematic approach to getting it done. And then I think when Scott used to work for you guys, he reached out to me and said,
Yeah,
"Hey, I think you do this." And so I didn't have a systematic process. I didn't have a weekly like scheduled time. And I think that was probably the biggest part of it, was just I look forward to that scheduled time every single week to just focus on being on top of it. And so it was easier for me to do it that way rather than just having some sort of sporadic, hey, I'll do a little bit of video, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. And it was just, there wasn't any rhyme or reason to how I was doing it. It was just kind of chaotic. And so, I've put out gobs of videos. I don't know. I think I do 2 a week
you do a lot.
with that.
Where
So
can someone go? Where can someone go to see the videos that you publish?
you can go on my recruiting website. It's www dot wyomingrealestatecareers.com. And you can go on there and see all of my recruiting videos that I've been putting out. And then you can also see, I have an Instagram page that they get pushed out to. And I think on my Facebook page, you can go on there too. So if you just type JP Fluellen into Google, I'm everywhere. So,
Yeah, you are.
um,
You are.
so it's easy to find. I'm the only JP Fluellen, I think, in the United States of America. So it'll be fine.
Yeah, you have an easy name I can optimize you for. What
Yes.
were what were some of your concerns when you hired us? What were some of your fears?
Um, I think just that it wouldn't work. And I think that it just I think that was my biggest one, is just because the onboarding fee is, a little bit hefty for,
Yeah,
for someone kind of at my size. And so I just didn't really think um that it would work. And um I think that was probably the biggest one. I think usually with realtors, because we get hit with so much different marketing from different avenues and different places, and we get random people trying to tell us that they need to optimize our websites and do all this stuff. And hey, we're an affiliate of Google or Facebook or
yeah.
whatever.
It's like, how do you
Um,
separate who's legit versus like who's trying to just kind of sell you something?
and then but really, when you distribute it out over time, it's way more affordable than probably just about anything out there. And
So
you guys,
how do you know that? How do you know that the money you're spending on this is producing a return?
because you guys give us those stats.
Oh, that's nice.
Um,
Yeah, like the people that open your emails and click the links and people are seeing it.
so I mean, for me, it's kind of like radio or like a billboard. Like you got to keep doing it, and over time, it produces results. It's not. I don't necessarily measure it in like a one for one return. I kind of just measure it kind of like if you're doing a podcast or if you're doing letters or if you're doing email or if you're doing any of those things, like they've got to continue to see you, and it's all about timing, right? So it's a timing thing. So when they you're going to hit them at the right time if you're consistent, and I had this big quote that I say around my office all the time is consistency over time breeds results every single time. And if you're not consistent, you know, um, realtors become short-sighted quite often. They're like, we're looking for that now lead. We're looking for that now deal. We're looking for that now gratification, and we're not patient as agents. Because you get your real estate license, you get going, and they're just like, yeah, you're in control of your time and unlimited income potential and all this stuff. And then you realize like, oh, this is like a real business. This is like a legitimate business that I'm running. I've actually got to lay the groundwork and have different pieces of your marketing wheel, if you will, and that you're hitting people in all areas. So, you've got your leads that you pay for. And then you've got, if you're doing a little bit of mail, or you're doing, you're a guest on people's podcasts, and then video. So,
Yeah.
and I like the
You know,
tracking piece of it. You guys edit all the videos for us and make them nice and pretty. And so I don't know. That's why I do it.
feeds the ego nicely, doesn't it, JP?
Yeah, it does. It makes me look like I'm pretty polished as a marketer too. So
Yeah. I'm sure it makes you stand out well on Cheyenne. The other thing too with marketing is marketing doesn't create motivation really to sell a home. So you do have to hit them consistently at the right time. There's no question about that.
Yep.
So the story is a bit backwards, but you also use this for recruiting.
Yes.
Because you wanted to build a team. Tell how you took the same principles we talked about of like just staying in touch with your database, making consumer buyer seller tip market update type videos, but you did that to build a name for yourself in some respect and positioning among other agents.
Right.
In the recruiting course. What was your decision behind taking that jump?
So for me, it was really to establish credibility. Because when like I'm in a town of 60,000 people and there are no other teams other than mine. And I say that in a way that
That's pretty cool.
yeah. So defining a team is almost like a brokerage within a brokerage model.
And is everyone like,
where
everyone has no idea even what you're trying to accomplish because they've never
exactly.
seen it
They're
before.
like, why would someone do that? Why wouldn't you just start your own brokerage? Like that's,
Yeah.
I get that a lot, and for a lot of reasons I can focus on growth and coaching and training rather than focusing on, accounting and,
You probably enjoy that more.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like being the broker so much or the general manager. You like being the coach and the leader that brings in the business.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I focus more on profitability than, chasing those squirrels. And,
so I guess let's step back about profitability. I probably should have brought this up because I happen to know you, but anyone watching this is like, what the hell does 33% mean? Why don't you explain to the audience?
Yeah.
Speaking of profitability numbers, do you want to bring 33% to the bottom line? Is that the goal? Actually, pretty good goal.
Well, it's part of the goal. 33% profitability is definitely part of the goal. But really, the 33% means that our objective with our team is to help 1 out of every 3 people that want to purchase a home in Cheyenne. So one of the things that I really appreciate about the real estate business is that every piece of your business is trackable, as well as within the community, as well as within the overall annual sales of a town, because every MLS tracks all these numbers. And so it's very measurable. So I can go in and say, okay, this is how many deals we've done. This is how many deals that we've done through our MLS in Cheyenne. And this is how many deals that we need to get to achieve our goal. And so it's something that I can constantly remind our team with, as well as the community, to let them know that we're here to help and that we want to be part of your journey to home ownership. And so that's where the 30% comes from.
I like it. And you put on a hat so you remind everyone about it all the time.
Yep.
Pretty ballsy. I like it.
Want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, so what were we just talking about?
I was talking about your 33%, dude, and why you have it on your hat. And you've like, it's like a lot of different meanings behind it.
Yeah. That's what you were talking about. So the recruiting.
The recruiting, you have the 33% in your head. And I wanted to go back into the recruiting. You're using video and social media to stay in touch with your database. People really haven't heard of a team, so they don't really know exactly what that is, even in Cheyenne, right? Mm-hmm. You like being on the leadership and the sales side of it. How has the response been from some agent starting to coach all the other agents in the market on like how to sell real estate? I mean, it would sound like you get more pushback and more haters than lovers. Well, not so lovers, but I guess the opposite of hater, if you follow me. Like what, tell me how that went. Like just starting to email all of your competitors about, hey, I have a plan and I'm recruiting you. Let me teach you stuff on real estate. Tell me about that.
So, and you're exactly right. When we launched our team, we got a lot of haters. You know, who's the AP guy telling these agents how to be productive, how to, grow and scale a team, how to hire and coach to produce highly productive agents. And it was definitely a challenge at first until they realized that, oh, this guy's not going anywhere. And so, but it's been a difficult ride in a lot of senses. So we attract a lot of newer agents that have either just got licensed or pretty new in the business, and they're not getting the value from their current brokerages. And so through video, it's a very fast and easy way to establish credibility. Because if you can speak intelligently and not have a lot of like well, and those kinds of videos, and when they come across very polished, and something that we added probably about 6 months ago is doing the closed captioning, because like
Yeah,
80%
easier to
video is,
read.
yeah, 80% of video is consumed without the sound on. So that was helpful. And so we've gotten some organic traffic just from, the more content you put out, the more search engine optimization you have. And so by being consistent and just cranking out content and being authentic definitely creates credibility among realtors. And as a matter of fact, because of what I've been doing, there's a few actual brokerages that have started to copy me and what we're doing on our team in order to stay relevant. So it's been a fun ride so far. So
Good for you, man. What was your production last year, even though obviously with COVID it'd be low? Where do you think you'll end up this year, given the gasoline the Federal Reserve has thrown on the real estate market?
I know, right? Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
So to be honest with you, so my first year as a team, we did 100 transactions for 34.4 million. And in 2020, we did 147 transactions for 39.8 million in production. And so this year, I think we're on pace for about 200 transactions for roughly 45 million this year.
Good for you, man.
So
Congratulations. Where does most of your
you
business come from?
lead gen,
Well,
lead gen. You know what's funny? What's so funny is I think this had a lot to do
JP,
with.
that might be the best answer I've ever heard for the answer to that question. Thank you. Yes. From the leads I generate. Well, that's good. Well,
Yeah.
how do you generate leads? What do you do?
So what's funny is, so I went through my own personal production last year, and for my own personal production, I thought, man, I'm pretty sure I did a bunch of, it was mostly lead gen, and it wasn't. I think I did 30% was past clients, and 40% was just people that already knew, like, and trust me from the content that I've been putting out. And then the rest of, so only 25% was from lead gen. So I thought that was a pretty interesting statistic. And so if you guys are watching this, one thing that you should be doing is tracking your numbers and your key performance indicators in your business, because what you think might be true might not actually be true, and you're doubling down in areas that you probably shouldn't be, and doing more things like video and content marketing rather than buying leads. So
Yeah.
just something about, because I think I didn't really know the importance of tracking numbers until I'm part of another coaching program, and they really hammer key performance indicators, and it's surprising when you actually dive into your business where actually your business comes from. So I was
Yeah.
pretty shocked by that. So
It's good to hear, man. I like hearing, someone that's really focused on like cold lead gen, like you were saying at the beginning of this interview. And you're kind of looking at all these strangers. How do I stay in touch with all of them? Which there aren't that many in Cheyenne, but there's still enough.
right.
I'm from Omaha. I can say these things.
Yes.
And some shift happened where it's like, no, 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 I got to turn around and look inward to my list. I want to go back to that question again. What was it? Was it driving by a listing that was listed with someone else? Was there a moment you're like, ugh? Was it driving by a client that were listed with somebody? What was the defining moment that made that shift of like, okay, yes, I probably need to have a stranger strategy, but I also need to have like a Met strategy. Do you share with the audience what that time was? Is there a specific story?
Yeah, so there's one particular agent in our town that she does a lot of volume, and I have to give her props for the sheer amount of volume. Um, and but she does a reverse prospecting strategy where if you're, let's say I bring the buyer and it's your listing, so then she'll turn around, and because there is a very slight amount of um uh I guess familiarity with the other side of the transaction. So they still, everybody knows the other agent on the other side. And so what she'll do is she'll do a reverse marketing strategy to where she's like, I already know the name of the person and where they live because I had the listing. And because there's such a huge amount, like I said, 85% of agents forget their agent after 3 years. So she'll just go and market to the new buyers from the listing that she just had. And
Hmm.
then through that process, they know who cares about them.
That opened up
And
your mind a bit.
right. And so then
Like
they're
caring
like, well,
about people.
yeah, like they care more about me than the person that I worked with to sell the
Yeah.
house. Well,
Yeah.
and the strategy you do over time. And then eventually they're going to be like, well, I'm going to
Do
go
you
with that.
do you have your own adopt a buyer campaign currently?
Adopt a buyer.
You know,
I never even heard.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at maybe a different way, but do you have a way where like if an agent brings a buyer, do you bring that buyer into your database too? Do you do something
I
like
have
that?
just started doing that this year. So what we do is we send out these. So like if I have a seller that's moving out of town, then I will start adopting the new buyer that I had into
Who's
my
a homeowner?
database.
Yeah.
Who's the current homeowner, and we send out cards every year and say, hey, congratulations on owning your home, for one more year. This is so and so. If you ever need help getting it sold, let us know. As a matter of fact, I got a stack of them right here. So my office staff takes care of me very well. So I gotta sign
Staff
them
do
and
you
put
have?
my.
How many staff do you have? How many agents?
I have. What do we have? 12 agents on our team.
Good for you,
We
man.
have 12, and then we have a 13th one that's going to be signing up here soon because she's just waiting for her fingerprints to come back. And then I have 2 staff. I got one part-time and one she's almost full-time, but she doesn't want to be all full-time. So
Yeah.
it's like a pretty good balance. They're in here right now. So
Say hi.
Princess,
Say how much you love your agents. Say how much do you love your agents, JP?
how much do I love my agents?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love agents. They are the best agents on planet Earth.
That's good.
They are driven for success, and they have adopted a philosophy that they were not used to. And at times, even when it's difficult, they still show up every day to achieve their goals and dreams, to accomplish the things that they want out of life. So,
Yeah. That's a good answer. Good job, JP. Give us me some tips. Somebody is, hope they heard that. Is give me some tips for somebody who's looking to maybe give Vyral some money or maybe struggling with giving us money and be like, this isn't really working. Of why it's working for you, whatever it is. Like, what do you think? Like, let's say one of your agents that you love hired us, okay, and they trusted you. And they gave us all this money, and they're like, JP, this better work. Like, this is like my mortgage payment, to at least get started, right? What would you truly, honestly tell them that they need to take seriously? Where's their focus?
so their focus, I mean, the biggest thing I would say is their focus has to be on, because we all need to know that people know, like, and trust us. And I think video is the fastest way to accomplish that. And by having someone weekly saying, all right, 1 o'clock every Monday, we're gonna do a video or 2 or 3 whatever you've got time for,
Mhm.
and really dial that in, because
Because you're
we
doing a
can
lot
all,
more than just the 2 a month. Because I think we just put them up on social media for you in addition,
yeah.
right?
So I probably average, because we meet once a week, but I probably do 2 videos every week. So I'm putting out, 8 to 10 videos a month. And then when we added the rev.com, so that they're all got the closed captioning on those. And then because you guys push them all out to all of our socials for us, that's how you're going to be omnipresence,
Yeah.
and it's really being on all platforms. And, maybe we can talk about this at another time, but maybe getting on like TikTok and getting on Twitter as well. Not
I
just,
think,
but in taking those 2-minute videos and then,
yeah,
breaking them up.
you can take that piece of content, you can slice it and dice it a gazillion ways. I was thinking about
Exactly.
offering, you're kind of the anomaly, but I was thinking about offering like a little boost. Like, so, hey, if you want to boost your video, it's $100, where we slice it in like all the different formats and post it everywhere. It's very time intensive. But if you got it systematized enough, I bet you can get that work probably cheaper overseas if they knew what they were doing to make it cost effective to do, you know?
Oh,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. This is the big thing that Gary Vaynerchuk talked about in the day. It's like, hey, I make my weekly long form content, and then they they tear it up every day into some other format to post it every single day off the weekly long form video, right? Yeah.
and I was thinking about doing
And his firm, by the way, charged $25,000 a month for it, and he just sent the video in. That was his price. So
charge them because he has to use their
no,
content.
that was VaynerMedia at the time. It was $25,000 a month, and you just sent in a weekly video, and they would basically viral marketing it, but a little more, I guess. Hopefully for
Wow.
$25,000 a month, right? Give the audience a little bit of some of the video tips that you have.
So the biggest thing is making sure that you're looking at the camera. That I would say is probably the number one. So the
Yeah, so
little
like, yeah, so here's me looking off the camera, or me
yep.
taking a note, right? Or something. And here's looking at the camera. Big
Mm-hmm.
difference, huh?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah. And so if you need to see your face, or see someone's face, you can just shrink down your little window and put it right underneath your camera. And that's how you can make it look like you're looking at your camera the whole time. So I have Frank's head directly under the camera now. And so when I'm looking at him, it looks
yeah,
like I'm looking at
you drag the zoom screen up so like your face is as close to the lens as you possibly can. Why don't you tell everyone this nice little microphone that you get invested in? What's this thing?
yeah. So this is a Shure SM78. It's a podcast microphone, and if you really want to sound super professional and sound like, I mean, this I bought this for, I think $4.99, I think, on Amazon, or it was Sweetwater.com, and then and so the thing about video is that you have to have good audio, otherwise the video is irrelevant.
And here's the deal. I was going to shut down this interview actually because you're a little choppy. You're on wireless, aren't you? You're on a
No,
wireless
I'm
connection. You're a little
I'm in
choppy
I
today.
I
I don't know
have to
why.
upgrade my little interface because the software is probably out of date now. And
Oh,
so,
because you're using an interface to get the audio and video to match, and the software's lagging. Oh,
yeah,
look at you! You had the whole thing. Yeah.
so so I have to get an upgrade on the actual
Yeah.
interface. That's
But
the next step.
your audio is thebomb.com. So people will put up with, a little choppy video or whatnot, but they want to be able to hear you. I mean, just to give you an example, I have a fan blowing in the background, but this is my headset. And if I were just to not have a headset or something, I would sound like this. JP, do I sound different?
Terrible.
Let's go back. How does that? Is it a little better? It
Yeah.
probably reduced fan noise and I come through much clearer.
Yes.
Mhm.
But it definitely does sound more compressed through the headset, whereas like through a professional mic, it
Yeah,
sounds more
because
like,
this one it's kind of like a noise reduction headset, so you don't hear my screaming kids outside or the fan or whatnot. So after you kind of play around with that, then you can get something like this. This is the Yeti mic. You can record
yeah.
this way. Let me see if
Yep.
I can share with the audience. I'll turn my fan off because pick up the fan. So here's microphone 1 and here is microphone 2. How does this sound? Probably a little more.
Better.
You like that one
Yeah,
better?
a
Little more rich that way, right? But if I turn the fan on, that's
I
the
can't
noise
hear
floor. You can't hear it? No, maybe it's over here. But we play around with this stuff. And are you, let me change the microphone back. Are you well lit? Do you have a light on you?
I have a window right here. Right there. There's a window.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so you just sound good. Yeah, I have a little ring light on me like this. There's a really cool company that, let's geek out for a minute. JP, how does that sound?
Sure.
You want
Let's
to geek
do it.
out with me? I'm going to share it with you. Elgato. Elgato. So check this company out. They specialize in like gamers actually, but they got some cool stuff on all the things you need for like the perfect video audio setup. Isn't that nice?
Ooh.
Look at this.
Right.
They have the switchers, they have the, everything that you need all works together. They have the mounts, they have the key lights, the stream deck. I was watching this, I was like, I'm talking to JP. He needs all, I could just see you buying everything on here. JP, look, that's for you, dude.
I need that. I need that gaming setup right there for my podcast studio.
Yeah. So what's really cool is, you can start with Vyral with a basic webcam with a headset, and that's just perfectly fine. And then as time goes on, just like any musician or really any artist, you start kind of falling in love with the creativity of it, which I'm sure you have, JP, in many respects, right? It's not so much about the ROI. It's like, I want to produce the best thing that I can, and I enjoy it. There's an artistic joy to it. So you start getting a little better camera, you start getting better at this, you realize that it doesn't talk to each other, there's latency issues, it's a whole thing, right? So JP, you're one of those individuals, but you have done such a wonderful job of using the program as it's intended. Any parting words that you can give somebody who is on the fence about loading up their entire database of everyone that they know and putting themselves on video for the first time and pressing the send button to everyone they've ever known their entire lives, understanding that it's completely terrifying for most people. It's worse than public speaking for most people. What advice could you give?
So I would say probably the number one thing is don't focus so much on the cost as it is on the commitment. And if you're just getting started and you're trying to get your name out there to as many people to know, like, and trust you as soon as possible with the least amount of effort, is just get these guys on board and have them just do all the work for you. It's cheaper than hiring all the staff to do it, because a lot of this stuff is behind the scenes and it's super time intensive. And coming from somebody that has staff, like my staff doesn't have time to be, stacking databases and scrubbing all of your databases and editing video and doing all that kind of stuff, because that takes hours and hours and hours of work that's being taken away from you being productive and being out there in the field showing houses and writing contracts and doing dollar productive activities. And but don't neglect the part that is going to come back and bite you when one of your friends, you bump into them at the grocery store and you're like, hey, how you doing? How's it going? They're like, oh, that's great. Yeah. What are you guys up to? Oh, we just bought a house. And they're like, oh yeah, who did you use? Oh, well, we use so-and-so at, 123 Realty Company. Oh, well, you didn't know I was a realtor? Oh, we're so sorry. We didn't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, good seeing you then. Okay.
Sounds like that, doesn't it?
It sounds just like that every
time. Yeah.
every
Okay.
time. All right. Well, good day. And so you have to do something. And I think to be omnipresent in this business is key. And these guys will get all of your videos out to all of your social platforms that everybody's on. And then they'll not only on top of that, but they'll also send them a one-to-one email. So they're getting something personal from you on a regular basis, and your past clients will love you for it. and they will continue to be like, oh, I get your newsletter. Oh yeah, that's great. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, you'll get a call or a text and say, hey, we're thinking about listing our house. And you're the first person they texted or called. So I don't know what else to tell you other than just figure it out, commit first and figure the rest out later.
You know,
I mean,
it's really is ready, fire, aim, man. Ready, fire, aim. There's a really good book that it's called Ready, Fire, Aim. And I'll share it with you guys. Here it is. One of the best books I've read by Michael Masterson. And basically what he says is that you need to figure out, until you do about $1 million in GCI revenue or income for most businesses, GCI for real estate, your only focus is finding out your optimal selling strategy.
yeah.
How are you going to sell this? And in order to do that, you have to test and try a lot of things. You're burning cash. Your product is going to be not that great. But that's not the time to refine it. When you're starting, it's the time to sell it to the early adopters that will work with you and like you and give you the benefit of the doubt. It's kind of like when a new CRM comes out, you buy it because you like the guy or gal that started it, and like, yeah, this isn't going to be that great, but you still run both at the same time. You give them the benefit of the doubt, you know what I mean? And because you want to be one of the first people, but you're just trying to figure out your optimal selling strategy in the beginning. And you do just have to do it and not be worried about how do I become the best realtor first. It's about, you want to be the marketer of what you do, not the doer of what you do. The doer of what you do doesn't make any money. The marketer of what you do makes money. The selling real estate services to people is where the money is, not necessarily delivering them. Would you agree with that, JP?
Absolutely. It's the salesman that wins is not the salesman that spends the most time trying to analyze all their little strategies and trying to figure out like, oh, I need to tweak this and tweak that and do this and do that. It's just the sheer volume of effort. So you can do whatever you want to do in this business, as horrible as you want to do it, and yet you will still get business because you're doing 10 times more effort than the guy that's, very strategic and trying to, oh, I'm only going to put out one video every 6 months, but that video is going to be so good that it's going to, the masses are going to be drawn to me. Whereas the guy that's doing the video every single day or every single week on a consistent basis is going to win every time because it's the amount of effort that you do. And real estate is the only business that I've come across that the amount of income that you generate is directly proportionate to the amount of effort that you put in. So think about that for a second.
It is. You have the added benefit too of customarily the commission rate, generally speaking, is the same for a more expensive house than a less expensive house. At some point, it goes down at a much higher price point. But there's not necessarily more work at the higher price point. Necessarily, this is generally speaking. So you get all of that gross margin for free.
Right.
Do you follow me? That gross margin, that extra marginal margin for free. And yeah. And what's also really nice about real estate too is like, here at Vyral, I have to go out and like actually ask for a credit card and like charge people money they have in the bank. It's terrible, JP. I wish I had it like you. They sell their home and the commission kind of magically shows up on the title statement and kind of goes everywhere once every 7 years. Right. So I think those two, which I don't think actually every 10 years somebody moves, but you kind of have those little benefits as a real estate professional with the money, at least for now, until things change or culturally change things or regulation comes in and whatnot. But you have a really great opportunity to make a really good living for yourself in real estate. And what's nice about the Vyral product is we can actually export everybody in your database and send them something that's probably decently relevant to everybody. It's a very, mass appeal topic. I was working with an attorney once that defended pilots in the air when the FAA came after them, like the air police. Like, oh, can't really export all your contacts and send out a reconnect message with that type of niche messaging, can you?
No.
So hey, if you happen to be flying your plane and you get in trouble with the FAA, I mean, hey, you know, give me a call.
Have that
So
cleared
what's
with.
nice, yeah. So it's nice in real estate. You have something kind of a mass appeal at that higher margin. It's cool. It's really good. So JP, thank you so much for the interview today, man. I really appreciate
Yeah.
you being a client, and thanks for coming on here and sharing this good information with anyone who's interested in watching. And thank you for making it all the way through this video. If you've been here, if you want to learn more about Vyral, go on the homepage of our website, download the video marketing plan on the homepage. You can also sign up for my weekly marketing classes that I teach every week, every Monday. Those are free if you attend live. And then if you're interested in signing up, you can go request a free strategy call on our website where you'll speak with John, who's our co-founder. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll go ahead and end it there.
Sweet.